back to another episode of Bitchin' here on the couch. We've got our fantastic panel today. Let me introduce them. Right next to me is broadcaster
extraordinaire.
Ted Bull.
Why, thank you very much, Fred. Great to be with you once
nice
again.
to have you back from Sydney as well.
Yeah, a good trip it was. Love Sydney. Love Sydney.
Time?
Old hometown. Yeah. Yep.
June Kelly, we haven't seen you for a while. Miss real estate tycoon, business investor, great advice person. Welcome back. You're looking good.
Thank you.
And I love your orange, one of my
Thanks,
favourite
Fred.
colours.
Yeah, I've actually gone with the big
Oh, I've wondered what you were doing that for. I could do that. I've gone for that too. She goes, this is Ted. I've gone for that. And I was like, oh, that's great. You've obviously heard me on 6PR. Diane Beggs from CARS, of course, Cannington Agricultural, Horticultural Society, Recreational Society of WA.
You nearly made a mistake.
I nearly did, and I always know that CARS stands for too many things, but
It does.
The Canning people are wonderful. We were at the Canning show just recently, and you're the lady that runs it all. You're the CEO.
Yeah, fantastic.
Well done.
And thanks for coming along. Everybody loved you. Get out and about
I
more.
loved it. I had a really good time. Next year, I'll probably wear clothes. But I think I was a bit of a crowd pleaser.
No, don't, Fred. Leave.
Okay, well, I'll invite some
And
people
you know
next
what?
year then.
I say to my staff with me, of course, I've got an assistant that comes. I said, look, do you think I'm overdressed? And they said, no. So I'm trying to reform it for 6PR.
Were you pixelated anywhere?
Well, nothing on me is ever picked.
I see.
But pixelated? What part of me would you pixelate, Ted? Oh, I know what you want. A bottle of bubbly and a Ferrero Rocher. Cameron Lynch, sorry to leave you at the end. We've got no time to introduce Cameron now. Cameron, of course, entertainment, showbiz manager, and everything that you do.
Yes, and I'm more of a bocce man myself, just if you're asking.
I had some
So,
of your
yes.
bocce. It was very delicious.
Yeah, you also ate some of my chocolates too.
They were lovely,
Yeah,
yes.
very good.
Thank you very much.
That's right.
Cameron, on that note,
Shall we begin?
let's talk.
Article right here. Now, Australia is no stranger to adding E on the end of words for common vernacular, such as barbecue to Barbie, and firefighter as fiery, and a tin of beer, I believe, is tinny. Yes, and of course, Australia has the lovely distinction of inventing the word, the narcissistic sort of sweeping of youth today in the selfie. So up there with dual flush toilets, hills hoists, and cask wine. Fantastic things.
Now, you see, Cameron, when we used to do a selfie,
Yes.
that sort of in the old days used to think you were a self-facilitator.
Oh, right.
If you know what I'm telling you,
is that like relaxing in a gentleman's way?
Yes, and I'm thinking selfie now has a whole brand new meaning.
Yes, it's a
not
lot
just
more
helping
public
yourself.
these days, especially with the advent of the internet. But essentially, if you're not up on the 411...
Because Kevin Rudd was a bit of a selfie, wasn't he?
What the one you were talking about first off, or the?
Look, I'll leave it up to you.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
always thought the selfies were, just taking photos of yourself. It's
That's
instant
what
on
this
the...
article is talking about.
That's what it is.
Fred-
Not
So
what
you
they're
should
talking
know.
about.
Fred, on the other hand, is, I think, talking of a selfie of an entirely different nature with his with his
okay.
5 little friends. So anyway...
Just wanted a selfie.
Oh, yes,
I
of
always
course.
say,
yeah.
one thing I do like about Cameron, he always makes a good fist of things.
Well, yes.
Let's go.
5 pillars
So
of
what's the story
society.
about?
So basically, they're saying that Australia originated the word selfie, I think, on an ABC post back in 2002. So it's been around for a long time, and now I think in the last 12 months, its research suggests its frequency has increased over 17,000%. So especially, I think it's prevalent in the US and the UK and parts of Europe. For me, I think selfies are terrible. Again, it's perpetuating a horrible, borderline narcissistic complex. And a selfie, if you're too embarrassed to ask
Fred's
someone...
taking a selfie now.
If you're too embarrassed to ask
Look at
someone to take a photo of you, that's a selfie, and you just really shouldn't do it. It's probably not a photo worth
But it's
taking.
about the
So if I come over
Well-
and I just see us both in that camera, and I press the
Oh,
button.
look at the pose.
You gotta
Look
do
at the
the
Cammy
sparrow
pose.
face.
You can
Sparrow
see
face
that
as
you
well,
do a lot
yes.
of selfies.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course, yes.
Now you
No, I
just said
do-
you don't like selfies, and you posed.
Ironically, I do a lot of research on selfies.
So why do people
again,
do
I also
these
do a lot
selfies?
of research on this
Does
article.
everybody on the panel do a selfie here and there or no?
No, God no.
Anybody who
No.
says they don't do a selfie, they're lying. Everybody does.
No,
Do you-
I
do
never
you do
do
it?
them. I ask someone to take a photo of me if it's worth taking a photo of. Otherwise, what's the point? It's just like, here's a picture of my head. I could be anywhere. It's completely superfluous. It doesn't make a difference.
So do you have a problem with somebody else taking a photo of you and putting it up on Facebook or
One of the worst ones of these is selfies.
Prefer having somebody else do it?
There's a Tumblr out there called Selfies at Funerals, and there's kids taking selfies at
Must be a
funerals.
dying
One
trade.
with the grandma in the casket in the background, you can see it. So and they think it's cool and funny and hilarious. So this is where this leads. So yeah, thanks Australia, well done.
Thanks for the word. It's a good word, self-e. That's a really good word. And you were saying about new Australian words. Yeah. What about the old Australian words?
Hey, Barbie, Fiery, and Tinny, all on board
What
with it.
about
Fantastic.
Dunny?
But Dunny,
Explain that.
or the low.
No,
I can't
or a
explain
dun.
Dunny. I got no idea.
So do you mean to tell me the word was originally a dun, and then we took it over and it became a dunny?
I'm not claiming the etymology
What
of
about a
Dunny at
nudie
all.
or a rudy?
I actually thought the toilet
A
was
lavatory.
Wasn't
would
the
be.
toilet invented
Lavvy?
by someone called Crapper?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
John Crapper. I believe he had a throne as well.
Thank you very much, Cameron,
You're
for talking about the
welcome, I guess.
selfie. Every time you say selfie, I think Kevin Rudd, and I don't know why, but that's because they always tarred him with that label.
Yeah,
didn't
well,
they?
he was the one, wasn't he? I've often wondered about a selfie with a flashlight. It'd be,
Yes.
when you look at the picture, you're like that.
Yes, I know what you mean.
But you can't flash and self at the same time, can you, Cameron?
Well, it depends what you're doing with the other hand,
Yeah,
I
you can
suppose.
turn the camera
What are you asking me for?
What would that be called?
He's the one who just took the selfie.
Or would that
I
be
don't
called
even
a
know where
flashing?
we are anymore.
No, where are we?
We're
I
on the
don't know.
gold
We're here
on the plate
at
on the
the gold.
toilet.
Studio
Gold, speaking of
183.
toilets,
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. So in the toilet on an aeroplane,
Yep.
the cleaners found a stash of 24 gold bars,
Will they give
which
it
I
back to
had
you?
left accidentally just a couple of
Oh,
weeks ago.
yes, Di.
But they won't return them to me. But that's the whole question.
So how
you
did
know.
it happen? Who left it there?
Well, I left it there because, you know, when you're carrying 24 gold bars worth
Yes.
$1.2 million.
on a plane, in the toilet.
And you need to go to
sneak
Dunny.
something like
Right.
that? How could they not pick it up on the scan?
Or they swallow them in condoms.
Gold bars. Have you seen the shape of them? I don't think
Well,
anybody's
it's a
swallowing
bit
that.
hard when they're retrieving them.
They'd come out as a bit of a bar, a bit of a log.
What a bitch. There's this poor little Indian cleaner, you know, and she's scrubbing away the
I
dirty
wouldn't say anything. I
Dunny.
would have just taken it.
And their supervisor comes in and says, oh, you've got to hand that over. Like, that was just
So
the
did they
worst
ever
boss in
find
the
out who
world.
it belonged
Yeah,
to?
someone lost
No,
a
nobody
gold
knows
they
who
still
it
don't know
belongs
yet.
to. Would,
Yeah.
really?
They
Apparently-
carry their own spares.
Apparently, because of the gold import laws from China to India, the tax excise has gone triple or something like that. So
that's the
they're
same in India.
trying to think of new ways to smuggle it in. But out of all the places on a plane, which is visited by hundreds of people constantly in the most intimate of surroundings, that's where I'm going to hide all
And
my
it wasn't
gold.
stolen?
Good work. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
All right, June, what have you got?
Okay, I have a selfie story actually. It's all about
dear.
me. Selfie.
Tell us, because
Okay,
this is
that's
a great
all right.
story.
I'm gonna
You're
tell
telling me
Yeah,
before
this
you...
is actually quite interesting because I think it does affect a lot more people than just me. So, quite recently, my father's had heart problems, and they've discovered that it's genetic, where the valves and the aorta and that all break down. So, ultimately, what it comes down to is, hey, you need to go and get MRIs. Now, if you go and get an MRI, or there's the genes for cancer, and there's dementia, and there's all of these other things, what actually happens for one with that information is that, say, for example, will it affect your insurance later on? Do you really want to know what you have? Because how much are you going to value your life if you've got, say, if I said to you, Fred, you've got 2 weeks left, and somewhere within that time, you're going to get hit by a car and that's it.
Well, you know, I
you
said
gonna be
that too.
living
You
life?
asked me that before, and I thought if I found out I had cancer today, because I felt sick and I went to the doctor and they said, you've got cancer. I think I could deal with it by saying, okay, what are the chances of having an operation? If they say there aren't any, I would travel and just go off and enjoy myself.
Okay, see, my sister in there, she's decided, yeah, I'm definitely going to go and get it because I want to know, because I'm going to change my lifestyle. And I'm like, well, why don't you choose a healthy lifestyle without having to find out from an MRI or something else? Change it and do something about it now.
What do you think, Diane?
What if she decided to change her lifestyle anyway for the healthy lifestyle, and she hasn't got this terrible disease, and
Well,
she's
she
missing out on all the good fun things in her life?
There might be precautions.
But why
for no
worry
reason.
about having the disease when you could be having fun and, you know, you just enjoy life?
Do you know
and it
how many
doesn't matter?
stories have we all heard of? People that didn't think they had something wrong with them. They find out they did have something wrong with them, or they do have something wrong with them. All of a sudden, they die very quickly because their mental. They're not mentally there anymore, where they think, I'm going to die. They get negative, they get depressed, and they virtually kill themselves. Then you've got people that have had cancer for 20 years and didn't even know about it, and they keep living.
I saw on Insight on SBS. In fact, they did a program on this very same thing that you're talking about. And one of the things that really came out to me of a woman with breast cancer, and they're not quite sure how long she has to live, but it's not long. But she felt that it was so important for her to spend that time with the family, and her family learned to accept the fact they weren't going to have her forever. And I think I think personally, and I love you, June, I think it's selfish to not want to know and to keep it to yourself, because if there's family involved, and there usually is, that family wants to support you, and they should have that right to support you.
Well, see, that's why I said it's a selfish story, because I would absolutely be selfish about
it's an individual
it,
choice, isn't it? It's an individual choice.
I don't want to know.
So you wouldn't want to know?
No, I wouldn't.
Ted says he would like to know if he was sick. What about you, Diane?
Knowledge is power.
And
You've got to
Cameron,
know.
what do you think?
Yes, definitely. I mean, anything I could find to sort of go and get it diagnosed or mitigate any problems, or I care about is for people just to go, you know what, who cares? Let it live, let it live. I've actually contracted a colon issue from sitting on a toilet with too much gold in it. So yeah, hopefully I can get some diagnosed with that.
And on that note, let's lift.
I took a selfie in the toilet. That's how I
Could I say, let's lift the bar a bit? Ted, let's go to Ted for the final
I think it's
one.
amazing, Cameron, how you managed to trivialise such an...
He brought it back to
It's a
himself
skill.
again.
It's a talent. Don't worry.
I pride myself on being able to trivialise things. Now, I sort of feel that this is very personal, this one. This is compulsory driving tests for older drivers have been scrapped. Now, this is Western
Oh
Australia.
no, 85-year-olds don't have to do it anymore.
Oh, well, thank goodness for that. Because I wasn't
Octogenarians.
quite... I know I parked me Gotha somewhere.
Ted, do you reckon,
Yes.
you're going to tell us about the story, but my thoughts are, before we hear your story, I'm wondering how many 85-year-olds that can't see, can't drive and don't know what they're doing are going to go, oh, thank God I don't have to do a driving test anymore.
Do you know what? I was getting scared. I said that to Cameron earlier. I thought, thank God I don't have
look
to
at
do
my
one, because I don't
parents.
think I'd pass.
My dad drives on the footpath, and he's only 79, and
Yeah,
I'm
but
thinking...
he's got one of those Gophers, hasn't he?
He's got a
No,
rascal
he uses my mum. He's always aiming at her when he goes for the...
Well,
And he-
basically,
Yeah, tell us the story.
that's okay. Basically, in the rest of Australia, when you hit 80, 85, you no longer have to have a test unless for medical reasons, and you do. Now in Western Australia, it's likewise. And the fascinating thing about this is the man who's decided it is Troy the Boy, the Buzzman.
Oh, the
Troy
Trevor.
Buswell, the Minister for Transport, who of course has had a few moments in his life, and recently there was one where it was suggested that he pushed his son up the list for
I
a
heard
driving
about that,
test.
yes.
Now, I reckon this the idea of this is by cutting out compulsory driving tests for older drivers, it means that ministers have more people to test their children.
Well,
because they're not wasting their
Yes.
time with oldies.
And now
good on you, Troy.
And we're going to give out Troy Buswell's phone number. If anyone's trying to get through to transport, ring Troy, because he's got a direct line. A lot quicker as well.
And
you
even if you're
bypass.
over 85.
So,
But
is
look,
it a good thing, Ted? I mean, I know you're not nowhere near 85, but thinking of your future, I look at my parents. My dad fears every year having to go for a licence, because he thinks he's going to lose his licence. And you know how independence is very important when you're in those years.
very much so.
Do you think that this is going to create a situation where it's going to be worse for elderly people, or it's going to be better?
I think better, because the insurance is that if the doctor says, hey, you really need to have a test, you have to.
Yep.
So it's not a case of, well, go for it.
Who stole the steering wheel? Oh, I'm in the back of the car again, you know.
Gee, that's an
Very
oldie, isn't it?
So then we'll test for
I
people
got
over
that from
85.
John Burgess, that joke. That's how old it is.
Well, I got something from John Burgess, but it wasn't anything worth anything.
selfie?
Not even worth talking about. Can I have just a very quick wrap up, because I know we're right out of time.
I would normally, if I was near 85, I'd be scared. But I mean, at this age, I would be scared as well, having to go and sit my test again. So
Diane?
it's good for them.
I think the oldies need their cars. If you take their cars away from them, you take their lives away from them. They don't need to know they're going to die. So, you know,
Or
don't just
anyone
let's
else
leave.
that may be in the
Forget
business.
85. I think everyone every 5 years should get tested, because if you drive out on the roads today, you'll see
You're outvoted.
a bunch of people. Excuse me, a bunch of people who can't even drive. And it's for Troy Buswell, like we said, we're giving his number out. But if you can't contact him on the number, go to wherever they
Thank you.
replace the Australian women's cycling team seats, and he'll be around there.
Thank you very much to Cameron Lynch. Thank you very much to Diane Beggs. Thank you very much to June Kelly. And as always, a pleasure to have the legend himself, Ted Bull. We love having him on the show.
Lovely
Thank
to
you
be
for
here.
making an
Ready?
appearance and always being available.